Chosen one. Stop for a moment and listen. This moment is no accident. You are here because heaven has paused your steps to whisper, "The right door will open." And you do not need to worry. You have walked through seasons of closed doors, job interviews that never called back, relationships that ended when you thought they would last forever, opportunities that seemed within reach but slipped away. Each time, you wondered, why me? Why always here? Waiting. But what felt like rejection was divine redirection. God has been protecting you from doors that lead to dead ends. Picture a master craftsman working with gold. He heats it, lets the impurities rise, then refines it again and again. From the outside, it looks like destruction, but in truth, it is preparation for brilliance. You are that gold. The fire you have faced is not punishment, it is refinement, shaping you for the place only you can fill. I remember a story of a woman who carried a vision to help children. She applied for positions, wrote proposals, and reached out to organizations, yet nothing opened. Years passed, and she felt invisible. But in the waiting, she built wisdom, gained compassion, and deepened her faith. Then, suddenly, an invitation came, not from the places she once chased, but from a new foundation that placed her in charge of an entire program. What once felt like years of wasted time became the training ground for her destiny. That same unseen preparation is happening in your life. Think about a door carved from oak. It looks heavy, unmovable. But when the key slides in, it swings open with ease. You don't need to break down doors not meant for you. You only need the key the Master is placing in your hands. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 9, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. Do you feel the weight of that truth? You may plan, you may dream, you may even think you have lost time, but the one who holds the blueprint is establishing every step, every turn, every pause. This means you cannot miss the door that was designed for you. It will open, not by accident, but by divine alignment. So lift your spirit. Do not despise the waiting. Do not curse the hallway. Your hallway is sacred. It is where God equips you, where He clears distractions, where He makes sure you will recognize the right door when it comes. If these words are stirring something in your heart, let them breathe through your response. Like this message, share it, so another waiting soul may find strength. And subscribe, so you remain connected to future words of life. And as a prophetic act of faith, type 111 inches, the comments below. By doing so, you are declaring, "The Lord is establishing my steps, and the right door is opening for me." N. Chosen one. Breathe this in. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. The author of your story has not dropped the pen. The chapters you thought were wasted were actually foundation stones. You see, when God closes one door, He is not denying you. He is aligning you. Sometimes, He must block your view of lesser things so that your eyes will recognize the greater. It is not punishment, it is protection. Think of a shepherd guiding his sheep. The gate may look narrow, the path uncertain, but beyond it lies green pastures. The shepherd knows what you cannot see. So trust the hand that leads you, even when the road feels rough. Your faith is not small, just because you wrestle with doubt. Faith is built in the wrestling. Every tear, every question, every long night has been watering the soil of your destiny. You are closer than you think. And hear me, the door that is opening is not fragile. It will not swing shut at the first push of opposition. No, when God opens, no man can shut. This is not a temporary opening, it is a permanent appointment. So take courage. Do not fear what you cannot control. Your task is simple. Stay faithful. Keep moving. Trust the timing. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. Now pause. Ask yourself, what doors have I been trying to force? What would it look like to let go and let God establish my steps? If this message resonates deeply, let it flow outward. Like, share, and subscribe so that others may walk with you on this journey. And type 111 as your declaration. The Lord is establishing my steps. End 1. Chosen one. Let us step deeper. You have faced many closed doors. You knocked with hope, and you waited with expectation. Yet silence answered. You poured effort, energy, and even tears into opportunities that looked promising, only to watch them slip through your hands. Those moments have left scars, haven't they? Quiet scars of confusion and whispered questions. God, why not me? But hear this with clarity. The doors that shut in your face were not failures. They were shields. They were heaven's way of protecting you from places that looked good but would have drained your soul. There is a mystery in divine refusal. What feels like loss is often mercy in disguise. Think of Jonah on the ship bound for Tarshish. He had a plan, but God had a purpose. The storm came, not to destroy him, but to redirect him. You, too, have felt storms after pursuing doors that weren't meant for you. At the time, it felt like rejection. In truth, it was correction. God steering you back into alignment with your true assignment. Consider another picture, a locked garden gate. From the outside, it appears you're being denied entry into something beautiful. But imagine if, on the other side of that locked gate, the soil had already turned to dust. The fruit had withered, and the well had dried up. What looked like beauty from a distance was only decay up close. God closed the gate to keep you alive. I remember a young professional who dreamed of working in a powerful company. She prayed, she applied, and at every stage, she advanced until suddenly, at the final interview, the door closed. She wept, feeling crushed. Years later, she discovered that very company collapsed in corruption, leaving employees bankrupt and broken. What once felt like her greatest disappointment became her greatest deliverance. Her testimony mirrors yours. The closed doors are holy interventions. Chosen one, you are not being punished. You are being protected. There is a crucial difference. Punishment seeks to harm. Protection seeks to preserve. Your Father knows the dangers you cannot see, the traps hidden behind seemingly golden opportunities. In His mercy, He blocks you not because you are unworthy, but because you are priceless. Think of a parent watching their child reach for something harmful. The child may cry when the object is removed, but the parent knows the pain of the child's tears is lighter than the pain of allowing harm. In the same way, your Father's no carries His compassion. Every door He closed was an act of love. The wisdom of Scripture affirms this truth in the book of Psalms, chapter 37, verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. And even now, as you remember the sting of those losses, let healing wash over you. You were never abandoned in those moments. Heaven was active, guarding your destiny. What was taken from you was never meant to carry you forward. It would have broken you. Do not let bitterness settle in your spirit because of past rejections. Instead, see them as divine detours. Your path has not been delayed, it has been refined. The doors that closed behind you only ensured that when the right one opens, you will be ready to walk through it without fear, without compromise, without chains. Lift your perspective. Closed doors are not evidence of failure. They are evidence of favor. To be chosen is to be preserved, even against your own desires. And though you may not understand it in the moment, the day will come when you will look back, smile through the memory, and say, "Now I see. Now I understand why it had to be that way." Lot. So walk on with courage. Every closed door is a testimony in the making. The hallways you have endured will soon become the evidence of God's hand upon your life. Trust it. Believe it. Live it. For you are not wandering aimlessly, you are being led. And remember, chosen one. The same hand that closes is the hand that opens. What felt like delay was only God, ensuring that your next season will not collapse under false weight. You are being prepared, and preparation always comes before promotion. So, stand firm. The hallway you've been walking is not empty, it is holy ground. Every step you take is ordered, and each closed door behind you is proof that your future remains secure in God's design. Lift your eyes forward, for the right door is already waiting with your name written upon it. Chosen one. Let us look at the hidden gift of waiting. While the world rushes ahead, chasing every open door, you have been asked to stand still. This has not been wasted time, it has been holy time. In the silence, roots are forming. In the stillness, your spirit is gaining strength that others cannot see. Think of bamboo. For years after it is planted, nothing seems to happen. Farmers water it, tend the soil, and yet no green shoots break through. Then, suddenly, after years of hidden growth, it shoots up, rising meters high in only weeks. The secret? The roots had been growing deep and strong, preparing to sustain the rapid growth. That is what your waiting has done for you. You might have envied others who seem to move ahead easily, but not every door leads to destiny. Some doors open quickly, but collapse just as fast. You were chosen to endure the deeper process. You were chosen to build a foundation that cannot be shaken. I once heard of a man who longed for recognition, while others advanced. He was left unseen. He prayed. He served. He gave. But year after year, he felt invisible. Only later did he realize that God was training his heart in humility. When his moment finally came, his influence carried weight, not pride. His hidden season had purified him. That story may sound familiar, because your hidden season has been shaping you too. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, the second book, chapter 4, verse 17. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. Do you see it? What you call trouble Heaven calls training. What you call delay, heaven calls design. This glory will be revealed not only in eternity, but in your appointed moment on earth. Your light will not stay hidden. Now, here is your prophetic step. Type, "No more fear," in the comments. Why this phrase? Because fear is what makes waiting heavy, and faith is what makes it holy. By declaring it, you are releasing fear from your hallway and inviting courage into your next chapter. It is not just a sentence, it is a shift in your spirit. So, keep your head lifted. What has been hidden is about to break forth. The hallway is not a prison, it is a womb, and the time of birthing is near. Waiting often feels like a hallway with endless doors, all of them locked. You pace back and forth, testing each handle, only to find resistance. But chosen ones learn that not every locked door is a denial. Sometimes it is God keeping you safe from what looks promising but would actually harm you. This perspective changes the way you see delay. It is no longer a punishment, but a gift. Think about how pearls are formed. They begin as irritations, grains of sand, trapped inside a shell. The oyster cannot escape the discomfort, so it covers the sand with layers of protection. Over time, what was once painful becomes a treasure. In the same way, your irritations, your frustrations in waiting, are being covered by God's grace. And soon, they will shine as testimony. The hidden work God is doing inside of you is not small. It is strategic. He is shaping your heart so that when the right door opens, you will walk through it without fear, without bitterness, and without arrogance. Many rush into rooms they were not prepared to handle. You, however, are being trained to carry the weight of your calling. That is why your journey cannot be compared to anyone else's. Others may appear ahead, but their speed is not your standard. Your measure is obedience. Your timeline is heaven's design. This is why you must resist the temptation to force what is not yet ready. Forced doors collapse. God's door endure. And so I tell you again, declare boldly in your spirit, no more fear. This is not a casual phrase. It is a line drawn in the sand. Fear says, "You are forgotten." Faith answers, "I am being prepared." Fear says, "Everyone else is ahead." Faith answers, "My steps are ordered." This declaration shifts your inner atmosphere so that courage replaces anxiety. Chosen one. The womb of waiting is almost full term. You will not remain in this place forever. The right door is already in God's calendar. And when it swings open, the years of hiddenness will make sense. You will see that the silence was not empty, it was sacred. Chosen one, you are not like the rest. Others may take whatever path is open before them, rushing into any opportunity, but your life carries a different weight. You have been set apart, marked for a course that only you can walk. That is why doors that swing wide for others remain shut for you. It is not rejection, it is distinction. From the beginning, God has always separated those he chooses for his purposes. Think of Joshua and Caleb among the spies. 10 looked at the giants and surrendered to fear. But Joshua and Caleb saw the same land and declared, "We are able." Their perspective was different because they were different. The majority saw barriers, the chosen saw destiny. You have been called to see with those same eyes. To be chosen is not merely to be blessed, it is to be appointed. Appointement demande refinement, and refinement demands différence. That is why your path feels lonelier than most. Friends drift away. opportunities seem scarce, and your journey appears slower. But this is not the absence of God, it is the hand of God sculpting you with precision. Imagine a violin maker shaping an instrument. He does not mass produce, he crafts carefully. Bending, carving, tuning. Each stroke is intentional, each delay necessary. When the violin is complete, its sound carries purity and depth. That is what God is doing in you. You are not a copy. You are an original masterpiece. The writings of the prophet Haggai, chapter 2, verse 9, carry a whisper for you. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house, and in this place I will grant peace, declares the Lord Almighty. These words remind you that your future will not mirror your past. The best is not behind you, it is ahead. Even if others have counted you out, heaven has already counted you in. The path you are walking leads to a glory greater than what you have known before. Consider a lighthouse standing alone on the edge of a stormy coast. It is isolated, often battered by winds and waves. Yet it stands firm. Why? Because it is anchored to the rock, and its purpose is not to blend into the shore, but to shine for ships in darkness. You, chosen one, are that lighthouse. Your separation is your assignment. Your difference is your strength. This truth explains why environments that others thrive in feel suffocating to you. It is not because you are weak, it is because your spirit does not belong to that atmosphere. You were never meant to adapt to darkness, you were meant to disrupt it. The frustration you feel in trying to fit in is heaven's alarm, reminding you, you are not like them. You are mine. Even in scripture, we see how separation becomes strength. Joseph was pulled away from his family, sold into slavery, and imprisoned unjustly. For years, he lived a life that seemed unfair, filled with rejection and betrayal. Yet it was that very separation that positioned him to stand before Pharaoh and save nations. Without being set apart, he could never have stepped into his assignment. And so it is with you. The doors that remained closed for others may have opened easily, but had you walked through them, they would have weakened your destiny. God has reserved a specific doorway that only your key will fit. And until that moment, you are being refined to recognize it. Do not despise your difference. Do not curse your loneliness. These are signs that you are walking the path of those marked for more. You are not ordinary. You are not replaceable. You are chosen. And your separation is the evidence of your calling. Hold this truth close. To be different is not to be disadvantaged. It is to be distinguished. And when the time comes, the distinction that once felt heavy will become your crown. Your crown is not crafted in public, but in private. While others display their progress, yours is being woven in the hidden place. And when it appears, it will not be fragile. It will carry the weight of heaven's authority. Chosen one. The very things that made you feel out of place are the very markers of your destiny. You were not designed to blend into crowds. You were created to stand apart, like a torch in the night, guiding others who cannot yet see. So let your heart rest. You do not need to compete or compare. Your difference is divine. Your pace is perfect. And the right door will open at the appointed hour. Chosen one. There is something you must realize. Your light terrifies the darkness. You may not even understand the weight of your own presence. When you walk into a room, atmospheres shift. When you speak, even softly. The enemy trembles because your words carry more than human thought. They carry divine power. Darkness has tried to close doors against you, not because you are weak, but because you are dangerous. Dangerous to fear, dangerous to despair, dangerous to the lies that keep people bound. Your very existence is a disruption to the plans of the enemy. That is why attacks have felt so personal. That is why rejection, isolation, and delay have followed you. But understand this: resistance proves value. If you were not carrying something precious, no one would try so hard to stop you. Think of a treasure chest buried under the sea. It is not guarded by gentle waves. It is hidden beneath storms, surrounded by shipwrecks. Because what lies inside is priceless. You are that treasure. The storms against you are evidence of what heaven placed within you. And just as divers go to great depths to recover what is hidden, God is raising you up so that your light will not stay buried. The writings of the prophet Nahum, chapter 1, verse 7. Carry comfort here. The Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in Him. Your trust has kept you through the storm, and your refuge has always been in Him. That is why, despite the trials, your flame has not gone out. You are still here, still listening, still holding faith, and that makes you unstoppable. Now, chosen one, I must speak to your heart with honesty. If this message has poured into you, if it has reminded you of your worth and lifted your spirit, then consider how you can also help keep this light shining for others. Just as oil fuels a lamp, your support, whether through a like, a share, a subscription, or even a gift, becomes the oil that allows this flame to keep burning brightly. Think of it this way: a lighthouse stands strong through the storm, but someone must tend its fire. Without oil, its light would fade, and ships would be lost at sea. In the same way, this space is a lighthouse, shining hope into countless hearts wandering in the dark. Your generosity, in whatever measure you feel led, is like pouring oil into the flame, ensuring that the light continues to reach those who need it most. This is not a demand. This is not a condition. This is an invitation to participate in something bigger than yourself. Every gift, no matter the size, becomes a seed, and seeds, when placed in God's hands, multiply far beyond what we can see. Perhaps your seed is small, but even the smallest candle can light another, and another, until an entire room glows. Still, let me be clear: you are loved whether or not you give. You are valued whether or not you contribute. God's word for your life is not for sale. It is freely given. But if your heart feels stirred, if you sense that gentle nudge inside, then know this: your support is not just sustaining words, it is sustaining souls. So I ask you simply, with sincerity, if you feel led, give. If you cannot, then pray. If you are able, then share. And above all, let your heart remain open. For this is how the chosen live: they give from love, not from pressure. So let your light shine, chosen one. And may every action you take, whether it is sharing this message, like sowing a seed into another soul's soil, subscribing as if you are planting your roots deeper into a living stream, liking as one spark that joins countless others to ignite a flame, or donating like pouring oil into a sacred lamp become another declaration that the darkness has already lost. Remember, this is never pressure. It is invitation. The way a river flows freely to water the valley. Your support flows only if your heart is moved. Whether you give, share, or simply pray, it all matters. Every act keeps this lighthouse shining so that others wandering in the storm may find their way home. Chosen one, your journey is not meant to be walked alone. Every spark you release joins with others until the night sky itself becomes bright with hope. What feels small to you may be the very flame that guides someone else home. So, step forward with peace in your heart. You are part of a living story, woven by God's hand. And in that story, every act of love, every seed of kindness, becomes éternel fruit. Chosen one. The seasons shift. A chapter closes. And though you may not yet see it, a new doorway is forming before you. It does not appear with noise or announcements. Often it rises quietly, like dawn breaking through a night sky. The season you endured, the silence, the tests, the pressing weight was never in vain. You are standing at the edge of something new, and the atmosphere carries holy anticipation. It is like the changing of seasons in nature. Winter cannot hold forever. Spring always follows. However cold or barren the ground appears, deep within the soil, new life is stirring. The same is true for you. Your spirit has endured the chill of waiting, but now the warmth of God's timing is awakening the seeds He planted long ago. I recall the story of a man who worked faithfully in obscurity. For years, he labored without applause, without recognition. Then one ordinary morning, a single conversation opened a door hidden all along. That one opportunity repositioned his life, not because he forced it, but because God appointed the season. You, too, are standing on the threshold of such a moment. The Word of God speaks through the letter of James, chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life the Lord promised to those who love Him. And perseverance is not wasted. Every test is recorded in heaven. Every tear has watered the ground of your destiny. And now, a crown of life, a season of fulfillment is prepared for you. You will not remain where you are. The crown is proof that the doorway is real. But before every true door, there is often a counterfeit. The enemy loves to present imitations. Doors that seem shiny, but lead only to distraction. This is why discernment is critical. Ask, does this door carry peace? Or does it carry anxiety? Not every open space is an invitation. Some are traps. Picture a hallway lined with many doors. Some are painted gold, but hollow inside. Some appear sturdy, but lead only to walls. Only one door leads to the room of your calling. You will recognize it not by its shine, but by the peace that flows when you stand before it. Chosen one. This is your moment to prepare your heart. Do not fear missing it. What belongs to you cannot be taken by another. What God opens, no man can shut. Your role is to stay faithful, to keep your lamp burning, to stay sensitive to His whisper. Now, as a prophetic act, type the number 444 inches, the comments. Why 444? Because it speaks of alignment, your steps coming into order with heaven's timing. Just as four corners form a stable foundation, This number declares that your life is set on firm ground. By writing it, you are saying, I choose God's door, not my own. I choose His timing, not my rush. This is more than text. It is alignment. It testifies not only to yourself, but to the unseen realm that you are ready. Angels respond to faith, and demons tremble at it. Your comment becomes a banner. I walk in alignment with the right door. So take courage. The old season has passed. The doorway is before you. It may feel quiet now, but soon you will step into a room that makes every tear, every delay, every night of doubt worth it. Stay steady. Stay alert. And know this, the right door will open, and it will not close again. When you write 444, you are declaring that your life is not built on sand, but on foundation. The number 4 itself represents stability, the 4 corners of the earth, the 4 winds, the 4 walls of a house. By repeating it 3 times, you seal this truth. Your steps are aligned in every dimension: body, soul, and spirit. This act is not superstition. It is a prophetic reminder that you will not be shaken when storms come. You will stand steady because your destiny is anchored in God's design. Type it with conviction, knowing you are walking on a path that cannot collapse. Chosen one, let this number rest in your spirit as a seal. Every time you see it, remember that your life is aligned not with chaos, but with heaven's steady design, and as you move forward, do so with confidence. You are not walking toward confusion, you are walking on foundation. The right door is before you, and nothing can tear it down. Chosen one, there is something you need to understand about the enemy's tactics. When he realizes he cannot stop the real door from opening, he attempts another strategy: distraction. He sets before you counterfeit doors, opportunities that look golden on the outside but are empty within. His goal is not to bless you, but to delay you, to drain you, to make you settle for less than what heaven prepared. Picture a bridge made of ice stretched across a deep river. From afar, it looks solid, shimmering in the sunlight, inviting you to step forward. But one wrong step, and the surface cracks, plunging you into freezing waters. That is how counterfeit doors work. They appear stable but are built to collapse the moment you trust them. The scriptures give us repeated warnings about discernment, even in the wilderness. When Israel longed for food, they were tempted to return to Egypt. The enemy whispered that slavery with full stomachs was better than freedom with hunger, yet those whispers were lies. Returning to Egypt would have meant rejecting the promise. Counterfeit doors always point you backward, never forward. I once knew of a young leader who longed for influence. When an unexpected invitation came to join a circle of people with power, he felt excited, but in prayer, his heart felt restless. The atmosphere carried pride and compromise. He nearly said yes, until the still, small voice within whispered, "This is not your door." Years later, he discovered those same people fell into scandal and ruin. Had he walked through that door, his destiny would have collapsed with theirs. His restraint saved him. Chosen one, you will face similar tests. The counterfeit door may come disguised as comfort, recognition, or even urgency. It may appeal to your emotions and press you to decide quickly. But heaven's doors are different. They carry peace. Even in uncertainty, they may not look flashy, but they fit the shape of your calling. Consider another image, a keyhole. The right key fits without force. It slides in, turns smoothly, and opens with ease. A counterfeit key might look similar, but when you push it into the lock, it grinds, scratches, and refuses to turn. If you find yourself forcing, straining, or compromising just to make something work, step back. It is likely not your door. The prophet Hosea warned with piercing clarity in chapter 14, verse 9, "The ways of the Lord are right, the righteous walk in them, but the rebellious stumble in them." When do you hear it? The right path is always aligned with God's ways. Counterfeit doors require compromise. True doors require obedience. One leads to stumbling, the other to steady steps. You may be wondering, how will I know? How can I tell the true door from the false? Look at the fruit. True doors draw you closer to God, deepen your character, and strengthen your faith. False door demand you compromise your values, silence your conscience, or sacrifice your peace. The true door will never require you to abandon who you are in Him. Think of Joseph once more. When Potiphar's wife opened a counterfeit door, it promised pleasure but carried destruction. Joseph chose to flee rather than enter, and though it cost him prison, it preserved his destiny. Sometimes saying no to the wrong door is the greatest act of faith, because it proves you are willing to wait for what is real. So take heart. Counterfeits are not a sign of abandonment. They are a sign you are close. The enemy does not waste decoys on those going nowhere. If counterfeit doors are showing up, it is evidence that the true door is near. You only need patience, prayer, and the courage to walk away from what glitters but does not carry God's glow. Your journey requires wisdom. Not all delays are denials, and not all openings are invitations. Heaven has reserved a specific doorway for you, one that no counterfeit can replicate. Wait for it. Discern carefully. And when you see it, you will know it will carry peace like a river, strength like a rock, and clarity like the morning sun. Chosen one. When the true door appears, it will not compete with your peace. It will not require you to trade your integrity for access. Instead, it will feel like a gentle hand turning the key at just the right time. You will know because your spirit will rest, not strive. So guard your heart. Do not chase what glitters. Wait for what is grounded in God's promise. For when heaven opens a way, it will not collapse beneath your feet. It will carry you further than you ever imagined. Chosen one. The hardest lesson for those set apart is this: God's timing cannot be rushed. You may see the vision clearly, you may feel the urgency in your heart, yet heaven does not move according to your clock. The one who holds eternity in his hand is never late, though he rarely seems early. Think of Abraham waiting for the promise of Isaac. The years stretched longer than he imagined, and the silence of God weighed heavy. At times, he tried to force the promise into his own hands, as when Ishmael was born through human effort. Yet, even then, God did not abandon him. He waited patiently until the fullness of time, then brought forth Isaac, the true heir of the promise. This story whispers to you, delay is not denial, it is the womb of destiny. In your life, there have been moments when you wanted to hurry the process. Perhaps you thought, if I just push harder, I can make this happen. But heaven's doors are not opened by human pressure. They open by divine alignment. And if you rush, you risk stepping through a door not prepared for you. That is why God often holds you still, shaping your heart until the right moment arrives. The Apostle Paul wrote with great clarity in his letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 25. But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. End of class. Patience in God's kingdom is not passive. It is active trust. It is standing in faith when nothing seems to move. It is refusing to grasp at shadows and choosing instead to believe in the unseen. This is what sets you apart. Others may scramble, but you wait with eyes lifted to heaven, trusting that the one who promised is faithful. Imagine a fruit tree in spring. The blossoms are fragrant, and you can almost taste the sweetness to come. Yet if you pluck the fruit too early, it is bitter, unformed, and incapable of nourishing you. Only time, sunlight, and rain can ripen it into perfection. In the same way, the promises over your life are maturing. To rush them would spoil their sweetness. To wait is to receive them in fullness. I once met a man who dreamed of leading others. He had vision, charisma, and passion, but he lacked patience. He pushed doors open by his own effort, and for a time, he stood where he longed to be. Yet because his roots were shallow, the weight of responsibility crushed him. It was only after stepping back into obscurity, letting God rebuild him, that he finally stepped into his calling with lasting strength. His story is a mirror to remind you, rushing only leads to collapse. Waiting leads to permanence. Chosen one. Trust the calendar of heaven. Every moment of waiting is woven into a design you cannot yet see. Your delay is not empty. It is full of preparation. God is aligning people, places, and even circumstances in your favor. What seems quiet on the surface is a storm of activity in the unseen. Angels are moving. Hearts are being softened. Doors are being prepared. And when the moment arrives, everything will converge like a symphony, perfectly timed. Think of the stars. They appear scattered across the sky, distant and silent. Yet when you trace their lines, they form constellations, pictures written in heaven. That is how your journey looks, now fragmented, confusing. But one day, you will look back and see how each waiting season, each closed door, was part of a greater constellation, spelling out your destiny. So do not be discouraged. Your waiting is not wasted. The delay you endure is heaven's strategy. And when God finally says, "Now," no force of darkness, no human opinion, no closed gate will stand in your way. The right door will swing open, and you will know it was worth every moment of patience. Chosen one. Patience is not punishment. It is God's safeguard, keeping you from entering rooms too soon. When the right door opens, you will carry the maturity to remain, not just the excitement to enter. That is why the waiting has stretched so long. It is shaping you into someone unshakable. Look again at the silence you have endured. Beneath that quiet, heaven has been working. Threads are being tied together. Alignments are being set. And when the curtain lifts, you will see how every pause had purpose. Nothing has been wasted. So breathe deeply. Release the pressure of rushing. The one who began this story will not stop halfway. His timing is not only good, it is perfect. Chosen one. Obedience is the bridge between promise and fulfillment. You can see the vision. You can sense the call. But without obedience, the doorway remains unopened. This is why the Spirit keeps pressing on your heart, because destiny is not unlocked by strength, but by surrender. When Israel stood at the Jordan, they were not asked to build a boat or force the river back. They were asked to step forward. The waters parted not before, but as their feet touched. That is obedience. It is moving, even when you cannot see the outcome. It is trusting that the one who called you has already prepared the ground beneath your steps. Obedience is rarely easy. It costs comfort, sometimes reputation, sometimes relationships. Abraham had to leave his land. Moses had to stand before Pharaoh. Esther had to risk her life before the king. Each faced fear, but obedience made them history makers. And you, chosen one, are cut from the same cloth. The Apostle John records the words of Jesus in the Gospel, chapter 14, verse 15. If you love me, keep my commands. Do you hear it? Love and obedience are intertwined. To obey is not to live under chains, but to live in love's freedom. When you step into obedience, you are declaring, I trust you more than I trust myself. That trust is what heaven responds to, and it is what swings open the right door. Think of a sailboat waiting in harbor. The sails are ready, the waters wide, but without the wind, it cannot move. Obedience is raising the sail before the wind arrives. It looks foolish to some, but when the Spirit blows, you will be carried into destiny with speed you could never create on your own. Now, chosen one, here is your prophetic step today. Type obedience first in the comments. It is a short phrase, but it carries eternal weight. When you write it, you are not simply responding to a message, you are making a declaration in the spiritual realm. You are aligning your will with God's call. Why is this important? Because the unseen world responds to agreement. Heaven hears it. Angels note it, and even the enemy shudders at it. Your words are seeds. To type obedience first is to plant faith in the soil of your future. A sign that you are ready for the door only obedience can open. So do not hesitate. Let this phrase become your banner. It is your way of saying, I choose surrender over stubbornness, trust over fear, and destiny over delay. And as you do, know this, the door that requires obedience will soon reveal its frame before you. Obedience first is not just a phrase, it is a posture of the heart. To place obedience before ambition, before comfort, before human approval, is to hand God the master key of your life. Many try to collect keys of influence, education, or wealth, but without obedience, those keys only rattle without ever opening the right door. Think of it like a lock forged from fire. It cannot be opened by silver or gold, only by a key made of surrender. Obedience first is that fiery key. It may look simple, but when it touches the lock of heaven's door, the mechanism turns with ease, and what was once impossible swings open. Obedience also protects you. Like armor on a soldier, it shields you from snares you cannot see. There are paths that shine but end in darkness. Choices that glitter but lead to chains. When you say, obedience first, you are covering yourself with divine guidance, ensuring your steps never wander into counterfeit doors. Consider how Noah built the ark. There was no rain, no flood in sight. Yet obedience made him move. His neighbors laughed. His generation mocked. But when the waters rose, only obedience kept him afloat. In the same way, your obedience may look foolish to some, but it is preparing you for storms you cannot yet see. And let me remind you, obedience is not about perfection. It is about direction. Even when you stumble, choosing obedience means you rise again and keep walking toward God's will. Obedience first is a compass, pointing your heart north when distractions try to pull you east or west. So let this phrase echo in your spirit. Say it when fear rises. Whisper it when doubt whispers. Declare it when choices surround you. For every time you put obedience first, you are one step closer to the door that no man can shut. Chosen one. Every step of surrender becomes a brick in your pathway. And when the last brick is laid, the right door will rise before you. Chosen one. Let me remind you, breakthrough is never random. Every open door in your life has been orchestrated by a hand far greater than yours. Nothing has been coincidence. Everything has been divine composition. The pattern you see as fragments, heaven has written as music. You are not stumbling into destiny, you are being guided step by step into it. Think of a symphony. Each instrument has its moment to rise and fall. To the untrained ear, some notes feel delayed, others rushed. Yet, when the conductor lifts his hand, all sounds align into harmony. Your life is that melody, and God is the conductor. The doors that open for you will not be out of rhythm, they will come exactly on cue. I recall the story of a woman who longed for stability. Her career faltered. Her relationships broke. And she felt as if she was trapped in endless rehearsals with no performance. Then one day, an invitation came that was so aligned, so unexpected. She realized heaven had been rehearsing her all along. That opportunity became her stage, and she finally understood why all the other doors had remained shut. Her life played like music, perfectly timed. The scriptures remind us of this design in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. None can fathom his work. These words breathe peace into your waiting. Beauty does not come in your time, it comes in his. And when it arrives, it will be radiant, undeniable, worth every tear you cried in the silence. Chosen one. This message, this space, this very moment, these are not accidents. They are living reminders that you are part of a greater story, and if this truth has spoken to your heart, I gently ask you, help keep this flame alive for others. Just as you needed this word, someone else is waiting in silence, needing to hear it too. When you like this message, it is as though you are adding another candle to a room already glowing. When you share, you are opening a window, letting the light spill into someone else's darkness. When you subscribe, you are planting roots beside a river, ensuring that you will always have a steady stream of nourishment. And when you donate, it is like pouring oil into a lamp that shines through the night. Without oil, the flame weakens. But with it, the light endures. You are not buying light, you are fueling hope. You are not paying for words, you are partnering in reaching souls. Even the smallest gift becomes a seed that heaven multiplies. Think of a garden. One seed, hidden in soil, seems insignificant, yet in time, it becomes a tree that shelters, feeds, and blesses. That is what your generosity does. It may feel small, but in God's hands, it becomes shelter for many. And every soul touched by this light becomes fruit credited to your account. But let me be clear, this is never obligation. You are not loved more if you give, nor loved less if you don't. Just as the rain falls freely on the fields, this word is given freely to you. Support is simply an invitation, never a requirement. It is the beauty of choice, the honor of participating. I want you to imagine a lighthouse on a rocky shore. Ships lost in the storm depend on its glow. Inside, there is one keeper tending the flame. But even a keeper needs oil to keep the fire strong. When you give, you become that unseen hand delivering oil. You may never meet the ship that finds safe harbor, but your oil made it possible. That is the beauty of partnership. And perhaps you feel a gentle stirring to go further. When you donate, it is like placing a stone into a bridge that allows countless others to cross safely into hope. One stone may seem small, but many stones together carry the weight of generations. In the same way, your support builds pathways for hearts who could never have walked this journey alone. This, too, is voluntary, never demanders. Like a stream flowing freely into a river, your giving joins a larger current of love, and every drop matters. Because rivers are not made of oceans, they are made of many faithful streams. So whether you choose to like, to share, to subscribe, or to donate, know that every action is precious. Each act is voluntary, flowing from a heart touched by God. And each act ensures that this light continues to shine for those still wandering in the storm. Remember, chosen one, nothing is random. Your presence here, your response, even the stirring in your spirit, it is all aligned. Heaven is writing your story with beauty, and in due time, the right doors will open. Until then, walk with peace, give with freedom, and trust that your melody is playing in perfect time. Chosen one. The cost of being set apart is one that few truly understand. To carry the mantle of destiny is to walk a path that others cannot bear. Many see the crown but overlook the weight of the cross. They admire the light you shine, but do not know the loneliness that shaped it. There are seasons when being chosen feels like exile. You look around and wonder why others seem free to blend in, free to compromise, free to take shortcuts, yet you cannot. A hand greater than yours holds you back. And though at times it feels unfair, in truth it is love. For the higher the calling, the deeper the pruning. Think of a sculptor with a block of marble. To the casual eye, it looks complete as it is solid, untouched. But the artist sees something hidden within. With every strike of the chisel, pieces fall away. To the marble, it might feel like loss. But to the sculptor, it is revelation. The statue emerges only through subtraction. Your life, chosen one, has felt those chisels, relationships, opportunities, even seasons of comfort stripped away. Yet it is not destruction, it is creation. The Apostle Paul wrote of this in his second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 10. For when I am weak, then I am strong. This paradox is the very heartbeat of the chosen. The world measures strength by independence, but heaven measures it by surrender. Your weakness has been the doorway for divine strength. The nights you cried, the days you felt too weary to continue, those were the very moments God was clothing you with power unseen. I once knew a young believer who felt the weight of isolation. Friends drifted, doors closed, and every step forward seemed to cost her something. She could not understand why her path was harder than those around her. But in time, she realized that the silence carved depth in her soul. When she finally spoke, her words carried authority that silenced rooms. The loneliness had not been punishment, it had been preparation. Chosen one. Do not despise the seasons where you feel stripped. Do not curse the nights of solitude. These are the places where God draws nearest, whispering secrets He does not share with the crowd. The greater the assignment, the greater the refining. And though it feels heavy now, it is producing a glory you will soon carry. Consider a torchbearer in a relay. To carry the flame, one must run with focus, avoiding distractions, enduring the weight of expectation. Not everyone is given the torch, for not everyone can be trusted with it. You have been entrusted, and with that trust comes sacrifice. It may cost you popularity, convenience, even temporary pleasures, but what you gain is eternal impact. Chosen one. The cost is real, but so is the reward. You are learning endurance that others will need. You are carrying scars that will heal nations. You are walking roads that will one day become testimonies for those too weak to stand. This is the privilege of the chosen, to suffer with Christ so that you may also reign with Him. Lift your eyes, even through the pain. Know that your tears are recorded, your sacrifices noted, your hidden faithfulness treasured. Nothing you have surrendered has been forgotten. Heaven sees, heaven remembers, heaven rewards. So hold fast. Do not envy those who walk an easier path. They may shine quickly, but their flame will fade. Yours is being forged in fire, and once it burns, it will not be extinguished. The cost you pay today will become the crown you carry tomorrow. Chosen one. Think of the diamond. It is not formed in comfort. It takes centuries of unseen pressure deep beneath the earth for carbon to transform into brilliance. If the process were interrupted halfway, it would remain coal useful, but common. Pressure is the price of rarity. You, too, are in that hidden forge, where God is pressing beauty out of hardship. Or picture olive oil. The olive must be crushed before its richness flows. Without the crushing, the oil remains locked within. And yet that oil, once released, lights lamps, anoints kings, and heals the weary. Your crushing is not empty, it is producing something precious that will nourish many. So, lift your chin. The weight you feel is not meaningless, it is meaningful. You are not being broken apart. You are being refined into something rare, something eternal. The cost is undeniable, but so is the coming glory. Hold on, for your crown is already being shaped in the fire. Chosen one. You walk differently because you are marked. There is a seal on your life that the world cannot explain. You may have tried to blend in, to walk unnoticed, but something about you always stands apart. People sense it, sometimes in admiration, sometimes in resistance. This is the mark of heaven, and it is not meant to be hidden. From the beginning, God has always set apart his chosen ones. Think of Daniel in Babylon, surrounded by a culture that bowed to idols. He stood firm. His deed was different. His prayers were unshaken. His loyalty was unbreakable. The mark upon him made kings respect him and lions spare him. That same mark rests on you. You may wonder why certain things that others do easily feel impossible for you, why you cannot compromise without feeling the sting of conviction, why the places others enjoy leave you restless. It is because your spirit is sealed. You were not made for shallow waters. You were formed for the deep. The prophet Ezekiel spoke of God placing his mark upon those who belong to him, a sign of preservation amidst judgment. And in the New Testament, Paul writes in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 22, he set his seal of ownership on us and put his Spirit in our hearts as a deposit, guaranteeing what is to come. This is the truth of your life. The Spirit within you is heaven's signature, an unerasable reminder that you belong, not to this world, but to the kingdom. That seal means you cannot live as others live. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. Think of a soldier carrying the insignia of his king. Wherever he walks, his badge announces his allegiance. He cannot switch sides without betraying his identity. You, too, carry heaven's insignia. It shines even when you try to hide it. And because of this, darkness recognizes you as a threat. That is why opposition has felt relentless, because you are marked, chosen one. This mark comes with both weight and wonder. The weight is that you may feel misunderstood, rejected, or isolated. People may not always grasp why you walk away from certain things, why your standards are higher, why your spirit resists compromise. But the wonder is that heaven fights for you. Angels surround you. God himself claims you as his own. I recall a young believer who tried desperately to live like his friends. They partied, compromised, and moved with the crowd. But every time he tried to join, conviction burned in his chest. He felt miserable in places others found enjoyable. It was only when he surrendered and accepted the mark on his life that peace returned. From that day, he walked differently, and his difference drew many to Christ. Chosen one. Your mark is not a burden. It is your crown in waiting. The seal that isolates you today is the very sign that will elevate you tomorrow. And though you may feel out of place now, soon you will see that your place was never among the crowd. It was always in the center of God's plan. Now, here is your step of faith. As a prophetic declaration, type the number 777 inches, the comments. Why 777? Because 7 is the number of divine completion and perfection. By writing it, you declare that your identity is whole, your spirit is sealed, and your destiny is aligned with heaven's design. This is not just a number, it is a banner. It says, I accept the mark of being chosen. I am set apart, and I will not hide it. Oh, when you declare 777, you are not boasting in yourself. You are boasting in the one who marked you. You are saying to every force of darkness, I belong to God, and no power can erase his seal. You are reminding your soul that difference is not disadvantage, it is distinction. So hold your head high. Walk with the quiet confidence of one who carries heaven's mark. You are not lost. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, sealed, and destined for glory. And the seal upon you guarantees that what is coming will far outweigh what has been lost. Chosen one. When you type 777, you are echoing heaven's rhythm. In creation, God completed his work on the seventh day, blessing it and declaring it holy. 7 speaks of rest, of fullness, of promises fulfilled. And in the New Testament, Jesus speaks forgiveness 70 times 7, multiplying grace without limit. To declare 777 is to step into divine completion covered by endless mercy. It is your way of saying, my story is whole, my path is secure, and my future is already perfected in Christ. Oh, so let this number rest in your spirit. It is not superstition, it is a reminder that the God who began the work in you will surely bring it to perfection. Chosen one. Before the true door opens, there often comes a final test. It is the presentation of a counterfeit door, polished and enticing, designed to lure you from your path. The enemy knows he cannot stop the door God has prepared, so he tempts you to settle for something less. This counterfeit appears just before breakthrough, because distraction is his last weapon. Picture a bridge made of glass stretched over a canyon. From a distance, it gleams with beauty, reflecting sunlight, promising a safe crossing. But the glass is thin, fragile underfoot. The moment weight rests upon it, cracks form, and the path collapses. This is the nature of the counterfeit. It promises safety, but conceals danger. Throughout Scripture, we see this pattern. Israel, on the brink of the promised land, faced the temptation to retreat to Egypt. They had endured wilderness trials, seen miracles. Yet, fear whispered that slavery was safer than risk. That voice was the counterfeit door, an illusion of security that would have cost them destiny. The enemy's counterfeits often appeal to your deepest desires. They may offer companionship when loneliness bites, shortcuts when waiting feels heavy, recognition when obscurity feels crushing. But these offers come at a price: your peace, your integrity, your future. The counterfeit is never free. It demands the surrender of what is sacred. I once knew a man who longed for stability. After years of financial struggle, he was offered an opportunity that promised instant wealth. It looked like an answer to prayer, but in his spirit, unease stirred. The venture required compromise, small lies, subtle dishonesty. He stood at the threshold of a counterfeit door. By God's grace, he walked away. Months later, the scheme collapsed, leaving many ruined. His obedience preserved him for the true door, which opened in time, bringing blessing without sorrow. Chosen one. You may face such moments. The counterfeit door is always loud, urgent, demanding immediate decision. It pressures you to act quickly, leaving no space for prayer or discernment. But the true door carries peace. It may require courage. It may demand faith, but it never forces panic. The prophet Jeremiah spoke a warning that rings even now. In chapter 6, verse 16, "Stand at the crossroads and look. Ask for the ancient paths. Ask where the good way is, and walk in it, and you will find rest for your souls. Allo, do you hear it? At the crossroads, there are always multiple doors, but the ancient path, the one marked by God's presence, leads to rest, not restlessness. The counterfeit will never give you rest. It steals sleep, gnaws at conscience, and leaves you hollow. Think of a counterfeit jewel. To the eye, it sparkles. To the touch, it feels solid, but under fire, it melts away. The true gem, however, withstands pressure and shines brighter with heat. So it is with doors. If what lies before you cannot endure the fire of testing, it is not the one heaven prepared. Your discernment, chosen one, is your safeguard. Do not measure doors by appearance. Measure them by peace. Measure them by fruit. Measure them by the whisper of the Spirit. The counterfeit may glitter, but the true door will glow with quiet assurance. And remember this, the presence of a counterfeit is proof that the true door is close. The enemy does not waste resources on those far from breakthrough. If you are facing tempting shortcuts, it means you are near the threshold of your real assignment. Stand firm. Resist the counterfeit, and soon the genuine will appear. So do not fear. You are not alone at the crossroads. The same Spirit who sealed you guides you. When the final counterfeit stands before you, you will have the strength to walk away. And when you do, the true door, unshakable, radiant, eternal, will open wide, ushering you into the place prepared for you since the beginning. Chosen one. One way to recognize the counterfeit is this: it bears no seed. A true opportunity always carries life within it. It multiplies peace, deepens your faith, strengthens your character. But a false door, though sweet to the taste, is hollow, like fruit carved from wax. It shines on the outside, but contains nothing that can grow. So test what is before you. Ask yourself, does this path plant hope? Or does it drain it? Does it carry fruit that lasts? Or does it leave me empty? The true door always carries seeds for the future, while the counterfeit dies in your hands. Knowing this truth will keep your steps safe until heaven's door appears. Chosen one. Once you cross the right doorway, everything changes. What felt slow for years suddenly accelerates. What seemed distant becomes near. The right door is not simply an entry point, it is a threshold into divine momentum. When God opens it, you are not left to stumble forward. You are carried, as though by the wind itself. Picture the horizon at dawn. For hours, the night lingers, and darkness feels endless. But in a single moment, the first rays pierce the sky, and the world shifts. Birds awaken, colors return, and warmth touches the earth. That is the image of the threshold you are about to step through. Your night may have felt eternal, but the sunrise has already begun. Throughout Scripture, when the appointed moment came, God moved swiftly. Joseph languished in prison for years, forgotten by men but not by heaven. Yet in one day, he was summoned before Pharaoh, and his life transformed from prisoner to governor. That is divine acceleration, the sudden shift that proves seasons of waiting were not wasted, but woven into a perfect plan. The prophet Isaiah spoke of such moments with authority in chapter 60, verse 22. The least of you will become 1,000, The smallest, a mighty nation. I am the Lord. In its time I will do this swiftly. And do you hear the rhythm of those words? Swiftly. Not slowly. Not hesitantly, swiftly. When the right door swings open, years of delay will be redeemed in moments of breakthrough. What once felt impossible will unfold as though it had been prepared all along. Think of a seed planted deep underground. For months, nothing stirs above the surface. But beneath the soil, roots are weaving, foundations are forming. Then, suddenly, in the right season, the sprout pushes through and growth becomes visible. In weeks, it multiplies, stretching toward the sky. That is divine acceleration, hidden preparation, bursting into visible fruit. Chosen one. When you step through the true door, your steps will no longer drag. Opportunities will align, connections will appear, and strength will rise within you, not because of your striving, but because of God's timing. What once felt like climbing a mountain will become like running downhill with the wind at your back. I once heard of a woman who endured years of obscurity, serving quietly, unnoticed by most. She wondered if her faithfulness mattered. Then one day, a single conversation placed her before leaders who recognized the grace upon her. Within weeks, doors opened, projects launched, and influence grew. She said later, "It felt as though God pressed fast forward on my life." That is the testimony waiting for you. This threshold will also redefine your identity. Where you once saw yourself as overlooked, you will see yourself as positioned. Where you once felt burdened, you will feel commissioned. The right door does not simply change circumstances, it transforms perspective. You will not walk timidly, but with authority, knowing heaven itself has endorsed your steps. Think also of a river dam. For years, the waters press against the barrier, accumulating, building pressure unseen. Then, in one moment, the gates open, and the water surges forward with unstoppable force. Your waiting has been the building of pressure, and when God declares the time, nothing will hold back the flow. So prepare your heart. The threshold is not a place to fear, but to embrace. It may feel unfamiliar at first, like stepping into new light after dwelling long in shadows. But remember, you were made for this. The seal upon you, the pruning you endured, the patience you learned, all of it has been leading to this very moment. Chosen one, you will cross, and you will not cross alone. The same God who closed wrong doors and guarded you from counterfeits will guide you through the true one. And once you are inside, acceleration will testify to his power. The season of stillness will give way to a season of speed, and you will marvel, saying, "Truly, the Lord has done this." NLT. Chosen one. The doorway before you is like sunrise. Night cannot resist it. Shadows may linger for a moment, but once the light appears, darkness retreats without argument. Your crossing will be just as undeniable, and with the light comes clarity. Paths that seemed hidden will be revealed, and steps that once felt uncertain will glow with direction. This is the gift of the right door. It not only ushers you forward, but also illuminates the road ahead, turning confusion into confidence. Chosen one. What God is preparing in you is not only for you, the testimony you will carry, the story you will tell, the victory you will live. it will ripple into the lives of others. Your breakthrough will not be a private celebration. It will become a torch that lights many paths. Think of a single flame passed from one candle to another. The first candle does not lose its light. Instead, the room grows brighter with each flame it shares. That is what your story will do. The right door opening for you will not only change your life, it will set fire to the hearts of others, showing them what is possible when God moves. The psalmist wrote with conviction in the book of Psalms, chapter 71, verse 15, "My mouth will tell of your righteous deeds, your saving acts, all day long, though I know not how to relate them all." Your testimony is too vast to measure, too powerful to contain, and as you speak it, whether through words, actions, or presence, you become a living lighthouse. Others adrift in storms will see your light and find courage to keep sailing. Chosen one. That is why this space exists, not just to pour into you, but to create a chain of light across the earth. And if your heart has been touched, if you sense this flame warming your spirit, then consider how you can also keep the chain alive. When you like this message, it is as though you are placing one stone upon an altar, saying, "Here I bear witness. This word has met me." That simple act becomes part of the monument of remembrance that others will see and draw strength from. When you share, it is like passing a torch down a long line of weary travelers. One by one, hands lift as the flame moves, and suddenly the entire journey is lit. You may never know whose darkness your torch has broken, but the fire you pass on will burn in places you cannot reach alone. When you comment, it is like carving your name into the stones of a sacred wall. Each word you leave behind is not noise, it is a testimony. Someone stumbling in the dark may read your line and realize they are not alone. Your comment becomes more than text. It becomes a lantern for another soul. When you subscribe, it is like planting yourself in fertile soil near a flowing river. Roots sink deep, drawing steady nourishment, ensuring you will never run dry. By doing this, you are saying, "I choose to remain where life flows. I will not uproot myself." That choice anchors you in a steady stream of encouragement. And when you donate, it is like pouring oil into a sacred lamp, not to keep one person warm, but to light a temple where multitudes can gather. Your gift becomes more than currency, it becomes fuel, ensuring that the flame never flickers out. Even the smallest drop of oil makes the flame last longer, glowing for souls you may never meet, but who will be touched because you chose to pour. Remember, this is not compulsion, it is invitation. No one demands a flame to spread, it spreads because fire longs to grow. In the same way, your choice is always free, always beautiful, always your own. What matters most is that it flows from love, not pressure. I recall hearing of a man who survived a storm at sea only because a distant lighthouse kept shining. Years later, he discovered that the keeper of that lighthouse had no idea whose life he saved. He only knew he must keep the flame alive. That is the power of unseen partnership. You may never know the names, but heaven does. And each act you make, whether a like, a share, a comment, a subscription, or an offering, becomes part of that light. So let your testimony shine, not only in what you say, but also in how you participate. Every flame matters. Every drop of oil matters. Every seed matters. Together they form a blaze that no darkness can extinguish. Chosen one. You are stepping into a season where your life will not only carry light but spread it. Your breakthrough will be someone else's signpost. Your endurance, someone else's courage. Your faith, someone else's spark. And as you continue to shine, you will see how heaven multiplies what began as a single flame into a fire that shakes nations. Chosen one. Never underestimate what seems small. A single word left in the right place can echo like a bell across valleys unseen. Your comment may be that echo. It may guide one weary soul, reminding them that hope is alive. Even the smallest lantern breaks the darkest night. Chosen one. Stepping through the right door is not the end of your journey, it is the unveiling of your assignment. For years, you have been prepared in silence, refined in waiting, tested in wilderness. But the moment you cross, you do not only enter blessing, you step into responsibility. The door is not merely for your relief. It is for your impact. Think of Moses. The burning bush was his doorway. He entered it as a shepherd, but he emerged as a deliverer. That moment was not just about his life being changed. It was about nations being set free. In the same way, your breakthrough is not private, it is generational. What God releases in you will ripple beyond you. Consider Ruth. Her doorway came in the form of a field, a chance encounter with Boaz. What seemed small, a gleaning of grain, was the threshold to a lineage that would birth kings and, ultimately, Christ himself. Ruth could not see all that rested in her choice, yet her obedience opened a legacy. Chosen one. Your doorway also holds more than you imagine. The scriptures affirm this generational weight in the book of Proverbs, chapter 13, verse 22. A good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. The inheritance you are building is not limited to material things. It is faith, courage, testimony, and wisdom. These are treasures more enduring than gold, passed like torches into the hands of those who come after you. Your faithfulness now will become the foundation others stand upon. Picture a mountain climber hammering stakes into the cliff face. The climb is grueling, the air thin, the path treacherous. Yet every stake he secures makes the way safer for those who will follow. That is you, chosen one. Every sacrifice you make, every battle you win, every door you refuse, that was counterfeit. All of it becomes markers for future generations. They will climb higher, not because their journey is easier, but because your faith carved footholds into the stone. I once knew a woman whose prayers became her children's covering. She prayed daily, often unseen, interceding for doors she would never walk through herself. Years later, her children and grandchildren testified that doors opened for them in career, health, and faith because of the ground she tilled in prayer. She may never have stepped into those rooms, but her legacy did. This is the power of generational impact. You are not only crossing for yourself, chosen one. This is why your refinement has been so intense. The weight you carry is not only for today, but for tomorrow. Every tear you shed is watering seeds your descendants will harvest. Every act of obedience becomes a bridge for others to cross. Every yes to God creates echoes that will resound long after you are gone. Think of a library filled with ancient books. Each volume is a voice from the past, guiding those in the present. Your life, too, is being written as a book, one that future eyes will read not with ink on paper, but with testimony on hearts, when they see how you endured, how you trusted, how you walked through the right door. They will be strengthened to do the same. There will come a day when others will look at you and say, "Because they stood, I can stand. Because they trusted, I can trust. Because they waited, I can wait." This is your generational inheritance. You are becoming a signpost, a living marker pointing the way to those who feel lost. So do not underestimate the season you are in. It may feel personal, but it is prophetic. It may feel small, but it is shaping eternity. The right door does not only alter your path, it alters the map for countless others. Chosen one, lift your vision higher. Walk through boldly. Knowing this, you are not just entering destiny, you are anchoring destiny for many. And in years to come, when your name is remembered, it will not be for the possessions you gathered, but for the faith you lived. That faith will become inheritance, and that inheritance will become legacy. Chosen one, you are like a lighthouse built on rugged cliffs. Your light is not only for the ships that sail today, but for generations of sailors who will one day pass the same waters. Each beam you shine becomes guidance long after your voice has quieted. This is the beauty of legacy. Your faith today will outlive you. It will become a map, a fire, a refuge, and those who follow will bless the God who used your life to show them the way. Chosen one. When the journey brings you at last to the right door, something shifts inside of you. It is not only relief, not merely joy, it is recognition. You will look back over the valleys you crossed, the nights of silence, the battles with counterfeit doors, and suddenly, every step will make sense. The pain that once seemed unbearable will appear as preparation. The tears that felt wasted will be revealed as seeds. The silence will echo as the chamber where your spirit grew strong. Crossing the true threshold is not the end of your wilderness. It is the unveiling of your purpose. The right door is not merely an escape from the wrong, it is an entry into the greater. For some, it will mean stepping into a calling long sensed but never realized. For others, it will mean discovering new strength and clarity of identity. But for all, it means walking into alignment with heaven's design. Think of David. For years, he wandered as a fugitive, hunted and rejected. He was anointed as king, but carried no throne. The wilderness became his training ground, shaping courage, humility, and worship. When the door finally opened, and he sat upon the throne of Israel, he ruled not as a boy dreaming of power, but as a man refined by fire. His throne was not simply a seat of authority, it was the destiny shaped by his trials. So it is with you. The right door will not hand you something unearned. It will confirm what has been forged inside of you. You will realize that you are ready, not because the journey was easy, but because the journey was hard. The resistance you endured became the very evidence of your worthiness. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 36, declares, "You need to persevere so that when you have done the will of God, you will receive what He has promised." N. Chosen one. This is what your perseverance has been, for not only survival, but inheritance. You are stepping into the place that was promised, not as a beggar hoping for scraps, but as an heir receiving what was always yours. Consider an eagle. For weeks, It sits in the nest, wings developing in silence. When the time comes, the mother stirs the nest, forcing the young eagle to spread its wings. The first flights are shaky, but soon the eagle realizes it was born for the skies. The nest was never the destiny, the skies were. In the same way, the rooms of waiting, of isolation, of closed doors, they were never your final dwelling. They were the nest preparing you to soar. I recall meeting a man who endured a long season of obscurity. He worked jobs that felt beneath his potential, lived quietly without recognition, yet he remained faithful, sharpening his gifts in silence. Then one day, the right door opened an opportunity to serve in a role that carried influence and purpose. He stepped in, not with arrogance, but with gratitude, knowing the years of silence had carved depth into him. His story reflects yours, hiddenness before release, obscurity before revelation. Chosen one. When you walk through your true door, there will be no striving. You will not need to force it or prove yourself. The door will fit you as though it were carved for your frame, because it was. It will not demand compromise. It will affirm your integrity. It will not drain you. It will multiply your strength. And this moment will not be only for you. Others will witness your crossing. They will say, "Surely, God was with them." Your testimony will become a roadmap for those who doubt in their own wilderness. The way you endured will become their encouragement. The victory you carry will become their signpost. Think of a torch carried in darkness. When you cross, the flame you hold will not be extinguished. It will grow brighter. Those who walk behind you will see the path illuminated. In this way, your breakthrough becomes their beginning. You are not only chosen for yourself, you are chosen for the countless lives connected to you. So take courage. The right door has been prepared since before you were born. Nothing can delay it beyond its appointed time. When you enter, you will know every valley had value, every silence carried song, every closed door was mercy. And you will rise, not as one who barely survived, but as one who has been crowned with purpose. Chosen one, your journey has never been random. It has been the hand of God, guiding, guarding, refining. And now, as you step forward, know this: the best is not behind you, it is before you. The right door is not just opening, it is waiting. And when you walk through, you will finally see yourself as heaven has always seen you, chosen, sealed, and unstoppable. Chosen one. As this journey of words comes to a close, let me remind you, you have not listened by accident. Every phrase that stirred your heart was planted with intention, crafted to awaken the truth already inside of you. You are not ordinary. You are chosen. You are walking toward the right door, and when it opens, the world will see the light you carry. But before we part, let me speak gently to your spirit. What you have received here is not only for you to keep, it is for you to nurture, to multiply, and to pass on. And there are ways, simple yet powerful, that you can keep this flame alive. When you like this message, it is like pressing your hand into wet cement, leaving behind a print that says, "I was here. I bear witness." Every like becomes a mark of testimony. When you share, it is like taking a loaf of bread and breaking it to feed many. You may never know who is hungry, but someone's soul will be nourished because you chose to give what you received. When you comment, even just a few words, it is like hanging a lantern on a long road. A traveler coming behind you will see your light and know they are not alone. Your words become beacons in the dark. When you subscribe, it is like pitching your tent beside a well. You are saying, I will stay close to this stream. I will not wander thirsty. It roots you where nourishment flows steadily. And when you donate, it is like pouring oil into a sacred lamp, not to keep one person warm, but to light a temple where multitudes can gather, or like a drop of water falling into a vast ocean alone, it seems small. But together, it swells into waves that reach distant shores. Your giving, whether small or large, is never wasted. It becomes fuel for hope in countless lives. Chosen one. None of this is demanded of you. It is invitation. A river does not force its flow. It moves freely, watering every valley it touches. So, too, your response should be free, flowing from love. However, you choose whether to like, to share, to comment, to subscribe, or to donate. Know this: every act joins the great chain of light, keeping the flame burning for souls still searching. You are part of something eternal now, and as you step into your next season, remember, you do not walk alone. The right door is waiting, the light is shining, and your destiny is unfolding. Carry this truth with you, and let it spread like fire wherever you go.